I am now live, I think. So I was just going to say, oh, hello, people have started to join. And Marie Reynolds, who is absolutely brilliant, is joining in a minute. And she is going to tell me when she's joined, and then I have to press the button. Remember, that request to be in my video. Oh, there. So then I say yes to that. I think I've done it. I'm so untechnical. Hi!
Hello, hello.
How are you?
Well done.
You know how I am really untechnical. I mean, to do anything like this is like amazing that I've actually
You've done it very well. And first of all, before we start, I just want to say huge congratulations to your niece. How lovely.
Amazing, isn't it? She got a first.
I know, it's amazing. Well done.
I know. It's very well, our whole family are completely amazed because nobody else went to university, so everyone's like,
oh, bless her. It's like our Liv as well. She's the only one that's gone to university, so
it's brilliant. It's brilliant. So thank you and hello to everybody who's come.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for joining. Hi.
Yeah. So I have to say that Marie has turned my life around. You've been amazing.
Well, you've done it because you've stuck to the program, really. I mean, everybody says all these lovely things, which is lovely, and I'm humbled, but it doesn't work unless you stick to it. So well done you.
Yeah, but I do stick to it, but it's not difficult, as in there are certain things that I definitely do, and then there are other bits that I sort of dip in and out of.
Yeah, well, it's difficult because of what you do, isn't it?
Yeah, because obviously it's all, somebody needs your wallpaper behind it. So I know what, I'm so blind as well. And I haven't got my glasses because I left them.
Oh, that's all right. It's a jungle mural. It's like
beautiful. It's beautiful. So I thought what we should do really is first of all talk about, like, Marie, you do so much, but the reason that I first came to you or first found you was because of my rosacea, really.
Yes, that's right.
Because I have really bad rosacea, and I know quite a few people do that are coming onto the chat. So just put hearts or whatever so that you know that what we're talking about means something to you guys. But basically, I've got very little makeup on now. Yeah. I decided to go as makeup free as possible so that you could see that still I've got a bit, but you can see
it's not flared, is it? It's not
like it was. Look, the hearts are coming.
Lovely.
So yeah, so one of the things that you first told me to do, and it's funny because you do FaceTime consultations, don't you? Tell us how it all works.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been in the skincare industry for since God was a boy, a long time. But also I do a lot of things alongside that, homeopathy and tissue salts and oriental diagnosis and all things like that. I then got into energy medicine, and it all sort of made sense to me because even though I was in the skincare industry and I'd been taught in so many different modalities, it almost seemed as though you could hit the bullseye, but then the arrow would fall out. It wouldn't stick. It just it wasn't cohesive. So it wasn't until I got into the energy therapy a lot more and then pulled all of my modalities in that literally it was a light bulb moment. And ever since I've done the philosophy of keeping it simple topically and treating within, it's worked. So as far as going back to the consultations, I can't just recommend, like when people say I've got rosacea, I now believe that your skin is a barometer of what happens internally. So for me, you're all individual. It's dependent on so many different factors. So I can't just say, okay, you've got rosacea, I want you to use X, Y, and Z. I have to do a consultation and I ask how you were born. I sometimes look at your feet.
I know. Your tongue, your feet, how you were born, if you were the firstborn. And the thing is that there are people out there that would go, oh, you have to believe in that shit to go for it. And I've always been a bit like, I believe what works for me.
Exactly.
And I think that what you do has always worked for me. I mean, literally within I would say within probably about 10 to 14 days I saw a difference. But it is about taking the supplements as well and drinking loads of water. There's all this stuff that you've told me which I now have carried through. but you're not, it's not a hocus pocus. It's not like some, you know, some people would be a bit wary of it. You're not,
Yeah.
not, Marie isn't like that at all. And also your products, though they are, you know, that it's not like you've never ever, I don't think they're super expensive that you can't afford them. I sort of think it's pretty reasonable for the fact that you're doing stuff for your skin and for your inner health.
Well, I think the most expensive one is the Restore, but the reason for that is, I mean, it's a huge pot. It will last you forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
My daughter's stolen mine.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing about it, topically, is, you know, for me, the philosophy is just supporting the lipid barrier, but feeding the microbiome, because your skin is ever changing. You know, we are what we are by what we eat, experience and inherit, but also by what we think and our environment. And there's so many different things. And getting back to your point about, I have loads of people that think what I talk about is shit. That's fine. I don't mind that, because I always say I don't have to prove myself. The proof is in the pudding. And I let my clients do the talking. I don't ask them for feedback. I have the most amazing feedback, and I have the most amazing results from what my clients have experienced. And that can be, I don't know whether you saw a couple of days ago, there was a young girl, she's a client of mine, who's got a terrible eczema rash across her neck. And I've just done 2 distance therapies on her, and it's gone almost.
Well,
so
yeah, I mean, you are amazing, and the distance therapy, which we will talk about in a minute, has really, I mean, I was talking to somebody about it today, and it's really changed me. You are, whatever you do is amazing. But to go back to the skin, the first thing that, because everyone says to me, well, so what do you use because of your rosacea? And I've had to use like rehydration drops. So I use drops of water, drops that you put in your water. So I drink 2 liters of water every day. On top of the fact that I also have your skincare routine, which doesn't use moisturizers. You use oils as a moisturizer.
Yes. So basically, when people talk about oils, a lot of people are put off by oils, but there are so many different variations of oils. Okay. First of all, if we look at essential oils, there's a lot of people are put off by essential oils, but essential oils are like fine wines. You can get some that are really synthetic and are inflammatory and cause a reaction, but you can also get many that are high altitude that have got no pollutants involved in them. So you can't just write things off. And also you've got to look at the molecular structure of different oils. For instance, Elixir is a marula oil, so it's really high in vitamin C, which is fantastic for rosacea type skins. And it has a small molecular structure, so you only need a couple of drops and it absorbs straight into the skin. On top of that, you use the Resonate. Now that is a hydrogel, not a moisturizer, because a lot of people feel better when their skin is slathered in loads of moisturizer, but actually it's suffocating for your skin. Your skin is a living, breathing organ, and it's one of the eliminating organs, and its job is to eliminate toxins from it's known as the third kidney. Okay, right. So it's eliminating those toxins. Now, getting back to rosacea, often rosacea is around a certain age, especially in women. So we're looking at hormonal influences. We know that hormonal influences is part of that. But rather than just focus on that, you've also got to look at the links between the hormones and the gut and the liver, which is what I do with you. So we look at how you're eating, what times you're eating, what types of foods you're eating, and the links between that. Now, as I said, you know, both you and John have got lifestyles that you have to do what you do within your jobs. But there are certain guidelines that we can do to maneuver that and give you supplements to help support easier transit of food that doesn't then cause stress on the digestive system. So that's where, you know, all of this plays part of. But yeah, getting back to moisturizer, no moisturizer. I haven't used a moisturizer for about 8 years.
It's amazing. I still feel like I need, when I use the oil and the Resonate and the Elixir, then I feel like I've got something on my face. So it's not like, and I was going to say this to anyone who's thinking, oh, I know I need moisturizer. You do feel like you are putting on a moisturizer.
Yeah.
And
what happens is that you make your skin lazy. You make your skin lazy. So basically what the philosophy of my skincare is actually working with your skin, not against it. You're not slapping loads of things on. A lot of the products you use in many different stages, like Anoint, for instance, you can use it in so many different ways. But it's working with the skin. I don't necessarily recommend clients to use harsh actives or harsh acids, because your skin doesn't need it. Your microbiome is a community in itself of bacteria that is always changing, so you need to feed that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's somebody's asking if you have an Instagram page. Well, yes, Marie Reynolds does have an Instagram page, and she has everything on it. So if you go to your Instagram, there's loads of stuff, and if you go onto the grid, there's so many different things saying about like the goji mallow cleanser, about all the things that I use for my skin, and I have seen a difference. While we talk about that, the other thing that has really changed my skin is cold force.
Yeah, I've got that here.
It's really good for rosacea as well, or if it's just good for skin in general.
Well, the thing is, what people get confused about is collagen is not only good for your skin, hair and nails. Collagen is the most abundant protein in our bodies. It is very, very good for gut health. So it supports what's called the lumen, which is the wall of the gut. Now, especially if we have people with leaky gut or drinking water. Now we get back to drinking water. Drinking water is really important, but you can drink loads of water but still be intracellularly dehydrated. Yeah. So that means that your cells are not hydrated. So that's why I put you on the rehydration and spectrum, because that enables your cells to be intracellularly hydrated. That then supports the kidneys, because if you're not drinking enough water, guess where the kidneys take the water from? Your vital organs, your gut being one of them, and then it circulates a lot of toxins. So we need to support the gut wall. Collagen helps to do that. So that will help with digestion. It'll also help with your skin, because in cold force, it's not just marine collagen. Marine collagen is the most bioactive form of collagen, so your gut absorbs it better. It also has biotin, which is fantastic for your hair, silica, zinc, and lots of B vitamins. So it's a complex. It's not just your collagen alone.
No, absolutely. And I think the thing that what I realised, and I was taking my cold force thinking this is for my skin. It was for my, everything to do with skin. I had no idea that my hair my hair has grown unbelievable from it. And it's not that it's just grown, it's thick, it's sort of quite healthy. I mean, I know I haven't put any colour in it for bloody months, but that's another thing. Like, I've noted the elasticity in my skin is completely different. The redness has gone, and my hair has grown so fast. And so
it's like those Play-Doh things, isn't it, that you push the Play-Doh in and it grows out.
So the only thing I can put it down to is that cold force, which is disgusting.
Well, it's, as I say, I mean, they're high-grade supplements as well. They've got no bulking agents, and they're easily assimilated for the body. But cold force is fantastic, and also, we have fascia. We have superficial fascia that's just under the skin, and we have deep fascia. And again, cold force is one of those things that help to support that. So it's really good for people that are sports people, anything like that. For injuries, excellent for that as well.
And also because of rosacea, I think the thing is that a lot of people find that their skin gets really dry. And so that's what you're saying is that it's all those supplements that stop your skin from going dry.
For dehydration. See, fascia gets easily dehydrated. Fascia gets easily dehydrated by your diet and your lifestyle. Stress. Your mental stress has a major impact on fascia. You know yourself, when you're stressed, it affects your breathing. And when it affects your breathing, you're not oxygenating. And when you're not oxygenating, where you carry it in your shoulders and your neck and shoulders, and then it gets stiff. And fascia is very much like, it'll go like stiff bubble wrap, and it'll be like a natural sponge that if it's not hydrated, it becomes brittle and tight. And then your body will learn to stay in that posture. So hydrating your fascia is key. So again, cold force is really good for hydration.
So what we'll do is we'll put up, or I'll get Marie to put up, and I will repost the
products.
Need, like, if you get a FaceTime with you and you get to see to see you or an appointment, then it's amazing. However, there are things you can do that you can put on that would help.
Yeah, I mean, on the website there is an order of process. So because I don't have loads of different cleansers, as I said, I don't believe in skin types and skin conditions. That comes from within. So what I've got is an order of process in how to use the products AM and PM. So that's on the website anyway.
And that
as far
as on everything.
Sorry.
That has your drops.
Yeah, it's got everything. It's got the order of process, and then what you've got is a hyperlink so you can take you to each product to tell you exactly what it is. So that's on the website. As far as the supplements, all of them are on the website again. With the Zoom calls or the FaceTime calls, I am absolutely chock-a-block now until mid-October. I've got nothing. It's absolutely a chock-a-block. So, but you can find a lot of it. I've written blogs. There's, you know, on the blog you can find there's one on rosacea, and you know, obviously we're recommending things on here as well. So,
yeah. And the other thing, so I've just seen that there's quite a lot of mentions about migraines. Saying, have you talked about migraines yet? We haven't talked about migraines yet. They have been, along with rosacea, they have been the bane of my life. And rosacea sort of started when I was in my late 20s, and I was told it would go through a cycle of 7 years and then it would disappear. Yeah. And it didn't. And I've just lived with it ever since. And then with migraines, I had them. Somebody's talking to me about what would you recommend for gut health.
Oh, there's loads of things for gut health
and gut health. So we'll talk about that in a little while as well. We'll talk about gut health.
Yeah.
Is a guru, and honestly, like with John, who has to eat so much stuff for MasterChef, and his, you know, he gets really, it's really difficult sometimes. And so you've been amazing with him as well. So we'll talk about that. But migraines, they started when I really first started my periods, I think. My mum had them, and then they disappeared for a while, and then I got them in my 20s, and then they disappeared again, and then they came back with a vengeance. And I've said to Marie, I'm sure that it must be like perimenopause or something. You know, I'm 48. I know it's not going to be long, but it's been it's really, really, they are debilitating. And they were getting to the point where it was every few days I'd get a migraine, and yeah, it's just awful.
Yeah, so migraines are one of those things. See, the thing is with me, when people ask me about health and well-being, I always say I don't want to know. I don't diagnose and I don't treat any condition. That is not my job. That is your GP's job. My job is to find out what is going on, and I look at things that may be causing an imbalance in your body and allow it to reset it energetically. So let's get back to, you know, people, if they don't understand or if they can't see it, touch it or feel it, then it's woo-woo, it's witchcraft. I mean, I've got the tag now, the Witch of the West End, right? That's what I'm known as, right? But when you actually look at the science of it, a lot of it goes right over your head and you think, oh my God, how does this work? But I think the first thing that you have to do is have an open mind. The second thing that you have to understand is that every single living thing has a frequency. It has a signature frequency. The earth itself has a frequency. We know this because of all of the things with electrical storms, with the electromagnetic field that is drawn down. And we use that in our houses to ground our houses. So people accept that. They accept that we use that earthing to neutralize the electricity in a house, but they don't accept that we are electrical beings. We are, you know, we've got our cells emit light, they emit frequencies, they emit all sorts of different things. So as long as our own anatomical things that are emitting frequencies, also pathogens emit frequencies. So these can be electrosmog, so things from our like phones, radiation from our phones, microwaves, water veins, even our houses, what they're built on can affect us as human beings. Bacteria, molds, parasites, chemical strains, vaccinations, even feminine hygiene, right, has an impact. So even your Tampax or your towels that are laden, a lot of them are laden with lots of formaldehydes and bleaching agents and all sorts of things like that. They actually have an impact within our body. So you have to just think, okay, we've got migraines, as I say to you, it's like a full stop at the end of a sentence. There's the migraine. So let's work it back. So with distance therapy, I asked for you to send a spot of your blood in, just a tiny little pinprick, and I will test the blood against frequencies, all different frequencies. Now that can include frequencies of even what's called a myism, like you were saying, your mum had migraines. So that is like a muddy footprint that comes through the DNA, but there's other things that have influenced that. So I have to look at that. So I would look at electrosmog, chemical strains, vaccinations, even parasites, molds and bacteria frequencies, and look at how that is influencing your body. So, and knock those out, because when you have a frequency that are matched, so let's just say I've got a frequency of electrosmog here, a toxin, and I've matched it. When you match them, they shatter. So it's a lot like the opera singer and the glass. When the opera singer reaches the frequency of the glass, it shatters. So that's what you do, you knock them out. Now, how it works, distance therapy, how can it work when you're there and I'm here?
Yeah, this is amazing.
So basically, if you look at your cell, within your cell, you have your DNA. Within your DNA, you have atoms, okay? And within those atoms, you have even smaller particles, protons, neutrons, electrons, and within them, you have something called quarks. Now, in quantum, I'm not claiming to be a quantum physicist, so please don't, attack me. But in quantum, there's no such thing as space and time. It's string theory. So I could have your energetic signature in the blood. I'm not interested in the blood itself, the cells and that die, but the energetic frequency within your DNA, I have that. Now, if I treat that DNA, you will be treated yourself. Okay?
Right. And so this is what, like, basically, you send a thing to do a pinprick. I do a pinprick of blood.
Yeah.
I put it on a little square of paper that you send with it, and I send it off to you.
Yeah.
You then keep that, and then you said to me, through that, it's like twins. Yeah.
So it's called the twinning effect. I mean, Einstein came upon it, and he called it the spooky effect. So not all twins, you've heard of this, of many twins that have experienced each other's pain. One could be in one end of the country in Scotland, and the other one could be in Cornwall, and the one in Scotland could have broken or hurt his knee, and the one in Cornwall is having knee pain.
Yeah.
That's exactly the same. And this is what they think, is that in the uterus, they share the atom. So it's like a split atom. So that's basically what it is. It's a split quark. So even though the twin in Scotland is being treated, the twin in Cornwall can be affected, and that's exactly the same. I'll have your one twin here with me in your blood, and you are the other twin. So even though I'm treating that, you will be affected where you are in your home. And I phone you up, don't I? And I tell you to take away all electromagnetic.
So what I mean, and I have to say that I love my yoga. I love my meditation. I try really hard to, you know, do all of the good things for me, eat well and everything. But my mind is the busiest mind, and it's like, and it just doesn't stop. And it does my head in, to put it bluntly. But when Marie says, right, you've got to now go to your, she says, right, you go to your room, go and lie down and make sure that you've got no phones or sort of electrical, like Wi-Fi items in your bedroom. So I take my phone out, I sort of unplug everything, and then I set an alarm outside my door for an hour. And then what happens is, she said to me, you have to just think of something like a really positive memory, and just every time your brain starts talking about, I've got to do this or I've got to do that, just go back to the positive memory and start looking through it and thinking of it in your head, so that you could explain it to a blind person. So I lay on the bed. I've done it a couple of times, but this was the first time. The second time I lay on the bed, and within about, I would say, and you said it would take about 50 minutes to an hour, within 10 minutes I was probably asleep, or I felt like I was asleep, and had been thinking about these things. And then I suddenly felt like I was awake again. There was suddenly a moment where everything was clear, which sounds bizarre, but it was like ding, like I was awake. And I thought, I'm sure that's not the time, but I think that therapy might have stopped now. Anyway, so I kept just sitting there and going through the lovely memory. And 10 minutes later, the alarm went off. So obviously, I think that was probably when it stopped. And so my body did really respond in the fact that I sort of slept. And then I woke up and I felt really clear. And it was just, it was amazing.
And do you know what the funny thing about that is, that you're saying that 10 minutes later, the alarm went off. Literally the last 10 minutes, the actual program stops, and you have 10 minutes, which is known, which I do something called a harmonizing. So the therapy stops, and then the last 10 minutes is the harmonizing. So
that's amazing. It's amazing. And it really, really, what happened was, it took probably the rest of that day, I was really emotional.
Yeah.
I cried a lot. I do cry anyway, as most people know. But I was really, really emotional. And then it's like something lifted. Now, I still know that I use medicine alongside you. It's not like I can say, Marie completely cures my...
No.
But what you've done is
will absorb as we sleep. And if you're sleeping on a mattress with a coiled spring or any metal on the bed, that acts as a conductor. So get them out.
Okay, so when you say get them out, do you mean even turn the because I turn the Wi-Fi off on mine?
Perfect. Well, no, get them out. Get all electricals. Even turn off your lights at the walls as you're sleeping.
Right.
You know, you've got to, I always call it sleep hygiene. Your sleep hygiene is not just obviously your bed, clothes and things like that. It's your electrosmog. If you can get a big hunk of rose quartz, pop that in your bedroom, brilliant. It absorbs electromagnetic smog. But keep them out of your room. You've got to remember that when you go to bed, it's for rest and repair. Your body is repairing all of the things that's happening and all of the stress. And, you know, keeping your mobile phone right by your bed, which everybody does because they want it as an alarm clock. You can still hear the alarm clock outside your room. One lady, I've quite a lot of ladies actually say to me, oh, I keep it by my bed in case my daughter rings. Now, I know that fear, right? I know that worry. But I say, do you have it on you know, normal volume? They say, oh, no, I have it on silent. I said, well, you wouldn't hear them anyway. You know, if it's you wouldn't hear them anyway. And if it's for your alarm, you can hear your alarm outside in your hallway. So there's no excuse for it. You know, it's just really not good at all. Not good for mental health, but overall health and well-being. And you'll often find as well people that find it difficult to sleep, or if they wake up feeling, you know, groggy, tired, adrenally fatigued, if you're stressed, if you're anxious, it exacerbates it. Get it out.
Well, yeah, and I think one thing you're saying, which is really true, like with our kids, when my kids are having a day where it's like social media's gone crazy, or I take their phone away, I just go, you know what, no phone.
Good.
Take it away. And that's hilarious. Somebody's written something. Can you see? Do you know what, I love Instagram, because usually it's a nice place, but then sometimes
that's all right, it's okay. It says more about, he's obviously frustrated.
Wrong channel.
Yeah, you need to get off your phone, you're being electro-smogged.
Exactly. But sometimes I take the phone away from my daughter, so I should take it away from me as well, because and people are saying their sense of smell is affected, and all sorts of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with you, for migraines, you do distance therapy, water, and there's other things that I've been taking as well.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Ferrophosphate is very good for migraines. Obviously, magnesium is really good for migraines. But you have to look at what you're eating. You have to look at the other things that you're absorbing, because it's okay. I'll use the field analogy again. It's like having a field that you want a healthy harvest. If you're putting all good fertilizer on that field, but the field is contaminated, you're not going to get a healthy harvest. You have to look at you have to look at your own housekeeping. You have to look at what you're eating, how you're eating. You have to look at electrosmog. You have to look at all sorts of different things and try and eliminate where you can. Especially like if you really do suffer from migraines, you know, it's just worth doing it. It's worth doing a bit of homework.
I think what you're saying is that what we found as well is that it is hormonal. So. So with all of this, what it all comes back to is the gut.
Yes.
So what do we do? What do you prescribe? And I know that there are a lot of my followers that go, do you know what? I know what triggers my migraines. I know that if I drink, I have one too many glasses of wine, that will start it. If I eat too much sugar, if I'm stressed with my period, all of those things, I can put them together, and I know exactly when it's starting. Or I'm suddenly really upset about something, or then it can trigger a migraine. My skin then is triggered, and my gut is not great.
Yeah,
and so I think that a lot of my followers, we're pretty normal people that don't have a load of money, that aren't like, oh my god, I can go and I can buy this and I can buy that, but they want to look after themselves.
But you can do simple things, Lisa, without even spending a penny for gut health. Right? So people think about gut health is just putting probiotics in the gut. Obviously that helps, however, gut health starts from what you chew and how you poo, or everything in between. Okay, so for instance, chewing your food is so important. You have 3 salivary glands that their job is to release specific enzymes to break down food, so that your esophagus isn't stressed and your stomach can then do its job of breaking down the food further for easier assimilation for the small intestine. However, many of us bolt our food down, drink while we're eating, and then that food is not then broken down. So that is the first thing. Smaller portions, no fluids while you're eating, and chew your food so that you make a lot of saliva to break your food down. If you can't do that, get a digestive enzyme. So Catalyst is really good. That's one of the new ones that I've brought out. So Catalyst, that's this one, and it's a natural. It's got papaya in it. It's got all sorts of lovely natural enzymes in it. So that will break it down. If you can't afford any supplements, the next thing that you can do, another tip, is by eating what's called exogenous enzymes. So you can do that by eating raw broccoli floret or a raw cauliflower floret as you're preparing your food, really slowly. Okay. Fruit. Don't eat fruit 30 minutes either side or after don't eat fruit. Make sure you eat fruit 30 minutes after any other food, because otherwise it will stay in your gut and it will just ferment. Okay. So
like eating a bowl of strawberries after dinner is not great.
It's not ideal, okay, because it can ferment. Okay, so have that 30 minutes before your meal. Okay.
Okay.
So because it can ferment, and then it can cause gases, and it can cause bloating, and it can cause all sorts of different things, and the bad bacteria love that, don't they? So things like that. Drinking your fluids, or drinking fluids, make sure that you drink fluids again at the very least half an hour before and half an hour after, because you need to make sure that your digestive enzymes are doing their job. So there are things that you can do quite easily. Make sure that you're eating your foods before or around 7 o'clock, the very latest, because after 7 o'clock, your digestive enzymes break down, or they stop working. Your body goes into a different nervous system. It starts to prepare for rest and repair. So anything that you eat after that time is going to put stress on the gut and the liver. And a lot of the time, if you're eating late, your food stays in your stomach until the next day.
Yeah,
so that's why, again,
I do try and eat early. I eat about 7 usually.
Yeah, so that's fine
as well.
Yeah, so, and then just watch what you're putting in your mouth, because, you know, and especially people that you know, love these dead foods, I call them, you know, like your burgers and your chips and all things like that. The bodies are amazing things, and they will assimilate, you know, what they can assimilate. But if you can put in goodness, then obviously your body will take that, and then it will use it to its best ability, you know. And remember that your body is taking out all of these nutrients and toxins as well. So it'll take toxins away from food, and it will then recycle it around the body. You know, a lot of people think that they just chuck the food in and it just comes straight out again, but you know, it goes through a massive complex. So there are little things like that that you can do for that. But on the supplement wise, you know, people tend to think that if they suffer from a lot of blackheads, or if they've got flushing around here or breakouts around here, that links in, it can link in with a candida overgrowth. So look at Eradicate. Eradicate has an anti-spore ingredients in it and anti-parasitic ingredients in it, and it helps with bloating, as does Catalyst. So it helps with bloating, wind, you know, if you get a bitter taste in your mouth, it helps with all of that. But again, you must make sure that you're drinking plenty of water. We need to drink lots and lots of water.
Okay. The other thing that I wanted to touch on before we go as well is stress and mental health. Because in this world of COVID, that is now, we're now sort of coming out of it, but we're not.
I know.
And things happen with Leicester, and you suddenly go, oh my God, you know, honestly, I feel like it's a roller coaster, and some days I feel fine and other days I don't, and I think that's probably down to my age, menopause, whatever those things are. But I also think that it's to do with I'm finding it really hard to juggle everything, to be everything I need to be for everybody, and you know, and I think it's been quite scary. And there are certain things that you have which have been amazing for me, which was the Calm
5
and a Catuba or something. This
Catuba, yeah. That's a tincture, and recently Focus you've had.
And Focus,
yeah, that's a new one. I think to start off with, again, there are things that you can do that don't cost anything. First of all, I always say, if you keep things in your head, it's a little bit like you're trying to spin plates and then someone coming along with a load more pile of plates and saying, here you go, you get overwhelmed. So there's something that I have done. Again, it's on the blog. I've got so much information on the blog, but it's called the non-emotional contract. And what happens is if you take everything that's in your head and you literally put it down in bullet points, you don't have to write a journal, and you say, right, am I in control of this? If you're not, you cross it off. As far as COVID and everything that goes on, you can get so overwhelmed with all of the information. You don't know what's right for wrong. You don't know whether you can or you can't. And rather than preempting, you just have to be in the here and now. Think about, what is my plan for today? What am I going to do today? And as far as pleasing everybody, you're never ever going to please everybody. So you have to make sure that what you're doing is right. As long as you're not ever hurting anybody, and you can lay your head on the pillow at night knowing that you've done the best that you can, you're okay. And there's a saying that I've always lived by when I get tempted to get involved. I always say, if it's not your circus, they ain't your monkeys. So you just step away. All right.
Yeah.
So the non-emotional contract is fantastic for that. Getting back to the supplements. Now, focus is a really good one for cognitive function. So if you're mentally stressed by being overwhelmed, it's fantastic for that. Yeah, it's got some amazing ingredients in it. It's got theanine in it, so that's really good for mental stress. It's got green tea in it. It's got all sorts of. It's got the reishi mushrooms in it, so it's got the adaptogens in it. It's fantastic. So that's really good for cognitive function. If you've got a little bit of brain fog, or if you need, if you're mentally stressed, brilliant for that. Calm 5 is more for that anxiety. So it's one of those, it's a homeopathic remedy that you would use if you feel particularly stressed. So you can take them, you take them directly under the tongue. And there's other ones called Fields of Flowers that I do, which is another one which is used. Now that's really good for emotional trauma, or if you feel anxious. The two together are really lovely. It's almost like an emotional blanket, that's hug. And they just make you able to sort of like deal with things better.
Yeah.
So they're lovely supplements to have. But for, as far as mental stress, there's some really good exercises on the blog, and that's called under the non-emotional contract. Fantastic exercises.
So what I was going to say is, what we're going to do, I'm going to put this on my grid. So I'm going to put our live on the grid for a little while so people can go back to it. And we talk about all the supplements and all the things. But if also we'll put at the bottom of the grid, if you tell me the actual, your link to your blogs, or shall I just put it comes up onto your thing anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I mean, it won't come up on my thing. So, but what I'll do is I'll text you the link to the blog. Okay. Brilliant. I'll actually do the actual blog, okay, of the ones that I was talking about, the gut health, the rosacea, and the non-emotional contract.
Okay, and I'll work out if I can put that, I'm sure I can, if I can put that under my grid, then I will. The other thing that people have just said, and I was going to say, I've got 5 minutes before I have to go, is HRT. Somebody says you haven't mentioned HRT and hormones, and I have been saying that we must talk about hormones as well. So just very quickly.
Again, it's a very personal thing. There's lots of things that you can do by nature identicals or bioidenticals that you can do, but you must always go to your doctor. I do a different thing where I imprint certain frequencies in oils to balance, but you must always go to your doctor because, as I said, I don't deal with specific conditions. I look at what may be causing imbalances, and HRT is a very personal thing that you have to sort of like have a conversation with your GP. But it's one of those things that I would love to be able to talk to everybody, but unfortunately I can't. What I can do is if you email Tina, if you do book in or put on the cancellation list, because we do get cancellations, she will you know, get back to you, or book in for October because it does come around really quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Do book in because Marie is amazing. As I said, this I think is my favourite product of yours, is the Cold Force. I do buy it. I mean, every month I'm buying it because it's just brilliant. But it's been brilliant for skin and hair. And as I said, the focus, this has been really good for my head. But the distance therapy is amazing too. Marie,
Lovely.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me.
I hope we've covered quite a lot.
Yeah, we have. We've gone through it quickly, very quickly.
Yes. So what I'm going to do is I'll put everything up on my grid, and then also just follow Marie Reynolds, and you will then see she's so brilliant. And it's not just about gut, it's not just about supplements, and it's not just about skincare, it's about everything. So it's brilliant.
Oh, well, thanks, Lisa. Well, listen, have a lovely evening with your family, and love to all, and thank you all for joining as well.
Yeah, really appreciate it, and thank you everybody, and I hope that I covered most of the questions that you asked.
Oh, thank you. God bless. Bye.
Bye.